exercise. We're going to do the hands-on exercise. Let's do like we've done before. Hit the reset button. Don't save. Reset yes. Now what's the first thing we should do when we're trying to build we're creating the sofa now? Is what? What are we going to do, guys? We're going to go check our units in this case. Our units are going to be in US standard, but we're going to make it to decimal inches. So you're going to switch it to decimal inches US standard. So we're doing that. We're specifying the units of our drawing. So again, we hit the reset button to start a new file. And then afterwards, we went to the default setting. Again, we do reset, and we're going to go use decimal inches, and we're going to make sure that it's US standard. All right, we press OK. Another thing we should get the habit of doing is right away doing File Save As, so that we know for sure nothing's going to go wrong. I make a new folder like we've done before, unit dash M3 now. We're on number 3, so that's why we're doing it. Open that folder, and we're going to save the file as sofa-finish and hit save. So now we have the file that's going to give us a name called sofa finish. Another thing we should always check before, if we're not using a template, is you go to File, and then you go to Preferences, which opens up the options of the drawing. From there, you need to make sure that we click on Files and make sure Increment on Save. That means that every time we press Save, it goes 01, 02, 03. So they're like backups for our files. So I press OK, and I hit Save, for example, File Save. You notice now my file is called sofa-finish01. That's the most recent file that it's using. At the end that I'm done, I do File Save As, and I rename that file. I get rid of the number, and that's the last one. But all the backups, like 01, 02, that's the progress as we go along. Perfect. So now my file is called Finish01. Doesn't make a difference. So we're going to start by, again, for those of you who came in late, customizing the units. We went to Customize. We went to Unit Setup like we've done before. And we made sure that we were in US Standard in decimal inches. The lighting we could leave as international. We're not going to play with those ones. But it's important to remember that we're dealing with units. So make sure that you're correctly using the right units. Is that clear? Press OK. So now we have our units. Now go to the snap one, which is up here, the 3, and right click on it, which gives you the grid and snap settings. We're going to go make sure that we choose the home grid, and we're going to set the grid spacing to 3, which is going to make it 3.0. Looks like inches. The major one underneath it, we're going to switch it to 4. And the perspective view grid, we're going to set it to 10. Now some of you may ask again, how did I get to this? I will show you. What did I do is once I fixed the units and I saved the file, I went to any one of the snaps on top and I right clicked on them, which gave me the grid and snap settings. From there, I went to, not option, I went to home grid. From the home grid, I changed the grid spacing to 3. The major line on every 9th grid line is 4. And the perspective view grid is 10. So what did that just do? It provides you a visual reference for the user. So now we see here, we have a nice, clear platform of what we need. So if you set the space to 3, the size of the smallest square on the grid. So these are all now 3 by 3. And then you have by 24 and so forth. So you can set your grids as your preference. All right. So once that is done, you could do again File Save, so you know that it's up to date. If you didn't hit Save before, then you should go now and rename the file Sofa Finish. Make sure that you have increment backups on under preference. Okay, and get the habit to save often. So every time you do something major, just hit Control S. Anything major, Control S. A lot of times the computer may crash, it may slow down, and if you've saved regularly, you won't lose an hour of work. You probably lose 10 minutes of work. Or if you're saving every 5 minutes, 5 minutes of work. If you're saving every minute, a little intense, but at least you only lose a minute of work. Good. Now let's continue. Let's press OK for the units, and we have our file set up. So now we're going to do the following steps. We're going to use the create panel like we've done before, right over here. And now we're going to go to the geometry like we've done before, and we're going to make a box. We could draw it anywhere, any size, just for now. We're going to draw a box, any size, and let it go. Why do we do that for the first one? Because we could go back always and modify it. So we're going to go and make our box. And it's going to be, again, a random number that they tell us. We're going to use the length as 25.591. And our height as 25.591. And our height as 1. Then if we wanted to, we could go back, click on the little box we made, go to the move option, and just move it back to 0, 0, 0. No, Z is supposed to be at 11.42, so it's a little bit higher. All right, so we saw that we made the piece, we modified it after the fact, and then we moved it up along the Z axis. We're going to go use zoom extend all so we see it, and we can see it in all 4 views. If I don't want to see the grid in the other views, G, G, G. Good. So we've done that, and our piece looks something like so. So by moving later on, when we did the move option, again, I right-clicked on it, which gave me the move, transfer, and type in, which allows you to move it along the absolute, meaning the origin of 0, 0. So I'm putting 0, 0. It's going to give me the center, and by putting 11.42 inches, it's going, decimal, whatever it is, it's going to move it up 11.42. Is that clear? So if I look over here, it's up from the origin 11.42. It's going here, you see that it's floating around. Same thing goes if I would have done scale or rotate. If I right click on it, I do get the pop-up, which makes it a lot easier to type it in than to just assume what it is. I could have also just pressed F12, which activates the one that I'm using. So if this one here, if I click on it, F12, it's going to show me the rotate. If I click on the move, F12, it gives me the pop-up right away, guys. So again, the F12 button on your keyboard allows you to have the pop-up show while you're in the command. So you don't have to move your mouse all the way up here, right-click. You just type in F12. So we did it, we moved it. Now let's create a second box. We're going to go now to create. We're going to go in the same one, do box. But this time we're going to make sure that we have the top view active. We're going to be building this one in the top view. We're going to do another box. All right, so we have the box set. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the top view like I mentioned before, and we're going to make a new one. We're going to go do box. Right? We're going to use the keyboard entry this time. So we know that it's at 0, 0, 0. We're going to type the length at 25.591. The width set to 1. And the height, I'm going to set it to 11.417. Right? And then I'm going to press the create button. What that did is it made a box in the middle of my piece. Keyboard entry, guys. I asked you guys to do keyboard entry. And then you hit the create button. Once you've done that, the next step to do is use the align tool. Now the align tool, like we saw before, isn't that hard if you just use it nicely. We're going to go do one now. We're going to go and select the box. So click Align, Tools, Align. Now we're going to use the Align tool. From there, now we're going to click on box number 1. There we go. And we get the pop-up like we've seen before. From here now, if we're using the perspective view, it's going to work. If you're using a top view, you have to change the letters around. We're going to go use which ones, guys? We're going to use the Z, right? And the X one. Then we're going to go to maximum, and we're going to go to min. And I threw it in exactly in the right location. We press OK. And there you go. We have it set so it went perfectly along the edge. We see it in the top view as well. All right, so we made the first piece. The next one we're going to do is we're going to make another box. Again, when you aligned it, we first clicked box number 2. Then we went to Align. We click on box 1. In this case, because I'm working in perspective, I use the X and Z, and I use the max and the min. Now we're going to go back and use the mirror tool, right? So we're going to go which view. It tells us to. You could use the shift and move to make it go underneath, but what's a simple way of doing it? If we know that the thickness of this piece, again, is 1 unit or 1 decimal inch, all we have to do is click on that one piece on the top view, right-click move, and from 13, go to 12. And what that's that going to do? It's going to adjust the view perfectly for us. And it's 1 unit in. So it's actually much easier than moving it, than copying and all that stuff. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the piece we built on one side and we're going to mirror it to the other side. So I'll select box number 2, right? Tools, and I go to mirror. What would it be now, guys? I go copy, right? And I go between the X and, oh, sorry, is it the X? On the X, no offset. Is there an offset? Yes, offset of 24.591. Okay, that's what it does. And then you press OK. Perfect. So if you moved it 1 inch before, and then you go now and copy it over, it's going to work. So now that we did the mirror, we did the first table, we matched it. Let's go click on our top view, maximize all 4 views, and we have our base. Now we're going to make a new box. We're going to go to our top view. Again, make sure it's yellow. Create a box. We're going to go open keyboard again, and we're going to type in length 1 as 25.591. Height is going to be 25.984. And we're going to press create, which is going to give us box number 4. Now that we have selected, we're going to go to the top view again, and we're going to use the align tool. Tools, align. Again, making sure that box number 4 is selected. And we're going to go choose box number 1 as our reference. So box 1. From there now, we're going to go and do the final ones, where we're going to go put, like we've done before, X and Y. So it throws it there. Then we're going to go use max. And clearly something went wrong, so we're going to go see what happened there. But let's just try again. I think because I'm in the top view. So let's cancel that. Let's go back to perspective view. Make sure we have box number, oops, something went wrong here. Make sure we have box number 4. Let me try, guys. Go tools, align. Now go to box number 1 and go max, XY. Okay. So I did a mistake. It should be the opposite here. It should be 1. Width is the number from before. So the length is 1. The width is 25.591 and the height is 25.984. Now it should work. Now we're going to go back here, tools, align, like we did before, box number 1. Oops, something went wrong here. Click here, tools, align. Now we're going to choose box 1, and we're going to do X, Y, max, max, which gives us the perfectly in the back. We apply, accept it, and there we go. It's actually wrong, I think. It should be going the opposite way. So I'm going to go back, undo, and do it again. Tools, align. We're going to go first, I made a mistake again. We're going to select box 4. Then we're going to go box 1. And we're going to go to X, Y, max, max. Now it's correct? I think now it's actually correct. It's because I did it in perspective. I should have did the align in the top view with the coordinates I gave you before. So now it's good. So now because we've done so much and I'm scared it's going to crash, we should get the habit of pressing Control S. So now we have a backup from here if something were to go wrong. Now from the top view, we're going to make another box. Top view, I'm going to maximize it so I can see it. And we're going to make a new box. Again, create, box. We're going to go use keyboard entry at 000 again. And we're going to go put, this time I'm going to be slower this time. Our length is supposed to be 1. Our width is supposed to be 23.591. And our height is going to go to 11.417. We're doing that front piece of the wood now. And we're going to press create. So now it's at number 5. With box 1 selected again, right? We're going to select box 1 to select the box 5. And we're going to open up the quad menu so we see all 4 of them. So we see everything is selected. But we didn't align it, so I forgot to align, so I skipped one piece. So we're going to, the piece I just made, box 5. How do we do it again, guys? Same way we did it before. Choose the newest one to the member. In the top view, it gets to be the easiest one to do it. Then you're going to go to Tools, Align. Then you're going to go choose box 1. And you're going to make it so it goes to the front. X, Y. If this gave us the middle before, now we're going to go to Min, Min. And it's going to throw it to the side. But I feel like my dimensions are off again on my piece. Let me just check box number 5 again and see. Box 5 should have been what, guys? It should have been length is 1, width is 23.591, and height is 11.47. So why do I have such a huge gap? So since we're not going to do the snap setting, I'm just going to do this the old school way. And I just put it back along the X, the Y, sorry. It's going to go to 12, 11 should bring it up. So no, I had it right the first time. It should have been X. So go here and put it back to 0. Perfect. And now it's perfectly placed. Once I have the chair set, if I just show you to look like clay so you see it, I grab all 1 to 5 and I make a group. Group the chair, and I can name it the group that I want. I'm going to call it a 1 seat. Okay, I can put a space if I want in between, and I'm going to press OK. All right, now it's all grouped together, so they're stuck together. Let's hit the save button. So now we're going to be continuing creating the corner sofa. So we could close it now. So now the group that we just built, we could collapse it. So it just says 1 seat altogether. All right, so if I go back to the quad menu, you see that it shows it equally in all 4 views. So we noticed there was a mistake again with, good job Nelson, on number 4 up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Tools, Ungroup, which breaks up the group. We're going to go to number 4, right here, right click, and we're going to move it back 1 unit. So we're going to go back here and type in 13. Oops. Which brings it back towards it, which makes more sense. So now it's fully and corrected. So now I select everything, 1 to 5 again, group again, and call it 1 seat. So again, we collapse the view, and now we have the seat perfectly fixed. What we're going to do next with our 4 views on, we're going to grab the chair that we just built, and we're going to make a clone of it. We're going to copy it. So we could do copy or shift move. So grab it, hold shift, and move it over. So now we have a copy of our chair. Is that clear? So now we made a copy of it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to, what guys? We're going to rename it. Call it corner seat. And press OK. Now that we have a copy of that, we have one called one seat, one called corner seat. We're going to go click on the group, go to the modify. We should be able to modify it. So we copied it over. Now we're going to click corner seat, and we're going to ungroup it. Ungroup it for now. So we renamed it for now just for us. And then we're going to go to the edit of the chair, and we're going to modify it. Wait, let's undo that. Let's not explode it actually. Let's go do open the group. So now we're actually modifying the group itself. So if I click on any one, I'm modifying it. Why isn't it working carefully now? There we go. Now it's open. So if I click here, how did I open the group? I did group open. So we're going to select the rightmost box, which would be which one, guys? Which would mean this side here is the rightmost. We're going to click on that one, which happens to be box number 008. We're going to adjust the height of that box there in the modify. From 11, we're going to switch it to 25.984. Why are we doing that? So it gives us that corner look. Now that we did that, we're going to go back to the group button and press close. So what did that just do? We made a group and we did a corner piece. We added the lift, we lifted the corner to give it that look of a corner seat. So I made the group, as you can see here, we made one seat, we lifted it, and we made a corner of it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make another one. So to end this exercise, what we're going to do, we're going to maximize it or just take this one here, and we're going to mirror it, right? Now we're going to connect the two sofas together, right? How do we connect them, guys? By selecting the corner group, pressing move. Is that what you guys did? Technically, I could do this. I could do 0, which puts it on top of each other. Then I could say, what's the distance of my sofa, guys? Watch what I'm going to do. Instead of trying to do this snap and all that, I'm going to just edit this group here. See what this length is right over here. My length is 25.591. Now I'm going to go back, close the group, grab the corner seat, and move it back along the X. There. So right there, they're on top of E. Oh, what happened here? This group here, I moved it to 0. Let's see. Right click, it's at 0.25.91. That's good. And C1 has that extra number there. So let's go bring it back. So as you can see now, my sofas are perfectly on top of each other. You see that? By just using a command in the measuring tool. Then I grab this guy and I mirror it, right? Tools, mirror. I could do the x-plane, and I could offset it how much? 25.91. Does that make sense? No, it's half of that. What's half of this number? Does this work if I do this? No, it does not. So we're going to go here, tools, mirror. If I go now mirror, it's going to go copy. We're going to take the corner seat. We're going to go tools. We're going to go do, like we did before, mirror. We're going to go along the x-plane, and we're going to offset it the distance of the same piece. So 25.591. I think if I do negative, it's going to flip it to the other side. Let's try. Okay. And it brought it there. All I have left to do, right-click move, and put the same number again. And it's going to move it back to the same location. And like that, I have the sofa perfectly connected to each other. The last step to do is, if I want to, I could group all three sofas together and call it file, tools, group, like you guys wanted, and I'll call it complete sofa. I'll call it complete sofa. So now that they're grouped together, and the last thing to do is just make a copy of it. Go to the top view, copy it again, shift copy over, call it complete sofa 02, and I can just rotate it. Rotate it. How much do I rotate it, guys? Oops, wrong direction. We'll do this one like so. I could have done that, or I could have just did rotate along the y-axis, 45. Oops, not the y, my bad. It should have been the z, 45, or negative 45. And I go okay, go to this one here, the other sofa. Do the same thing, rotate, and do along the z, 45. And like that, I have my beautiful sofas. Take off the grid. I have my two sofas, my three completed sofas. If I open up the groups, I have the corner 1, corner 2, 1 seat, group 2, corner 2, corner 3, 1 seat again. If I want to be clear, but it's pretty good at like this. Is that clear for everybody? That is it. We completed the exercise.